starts with emilyreynolds.net. And today, with my video series, How I Conquer Graves' Disease, I'm going to talk about baby steps. This is an extremely important part of the process, and it is one of the initial stages, something that you have to understand so you can be successful. So it doesn't just apply to Graves. It applies to anybody with any kind of chronic illness or even somebody who wants to lose weight. I'm talking about like anything that you want to change in your life. So let's take the person who's gained 20 pounds and the person who has Graves' disease, fibromyalgia, Crohn's, an illness. Did it happen overnight? Were you 115 and woke up the next day and you were 135? No. The answer is always no. Were you feeling amazing about yourself and all of a sudden you were like, I'm depressed, I have horrible anxiety, I have gastrointestinal issues, I have brain fog, my skin is getting really dry, my hair is falling out? Overnight? No. This stuff happens over a period of time. And a lot of people get really angry at this, but we do it to ourselves. We as human beings bring on disease by our environment, our thoughts, the food that we put in our mouth. Sometimes things that we always say we don't have control over, because everything in our environment changes every cell in our body. From your thought process, your physical environment, your emotional state, of course the food and everything that you put in your body if you exercise or don't. So of course all of us are doing what we think is best, but sometimes we don't know what we don't know. So I had bad information. Let's just use me as an example. I thought soy was really good for you. I didn't know that it disrupted my thyroid communicating with the rest of my body. I didn't know that. I also thought that sugar-free was great and fat-free was great, and that cardio was how you stay fit, not lifting weights. Who would ever do that? I had bad information. I was told by doctors that supplementation was a waste of money and that I just peed everything out. I wasn't educated enough, so I was doing everything I thought, but then I educated myself and I learned the proper methods and the methods that worked for me, because everybody's different. Of course, what I am doing and implementing and know works for me in my life now, I didn't know 3 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago. It didn't happen overnight that I changed my lifestyle. It didn't happen overnight that I started eating healthy. It didn't happen overnight that I conquered Graves' disease. It didn't happen overnight that I got off synthetic medication and I went on to Armour. It didn't happen overnight. It happened with baby steps. It happened with my first baby step, which is the most important one for anyone trying to accomplish anything. My first baby step, okay? Pay attention. Turn off the TV, put down your phone. This is the most important baby step. You have to believe in yourself. You have to have self-esteem, self-worth, and you have to believe that you can accomplish fill in the blank. Whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. Like I said, weight loss, healing, getting a job, getting a better relationship, improving on yourself in any way, in any facet of your life. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are correct. You are dead on right. So you better think that you can. You better believe that you can. You better know that you can. And that starts with self-esteem and self-worth. That is baby step number one. Okay, I have a lot of sayings, cliche maybe as some of them are, but be your own best friend. I always say this because when I was my sickest, I was the only one who was really there for me. What do I mean by that? Did I not have anyone who cared about me? Of course I did. Did I not have doctors that were doing the best that they knew how, which was horrible, but it's the best that they knew how to help me? Of course. Did I not have a best friend who would have loved to heal me like that? Of course. But when it came down to it, I was the only person that could make the changes that were needed in order to propel myself forward into a truly healthy, happy, and fit lifestyle forever. No one could do that for me. So you have to be your own best friend because you're the only person who can make changes happen in your life. Okay? So baby step number one. Believe in yourself. Believe you are worth it. Believe you can accomplish it. And believe that you have the power within yourself to make all of your dreams come true. And again, this applies to anything. It applies to wanting to have something bigger and better in your life. okay? You want to get out of that job that you hate and get into your passion. You can apply all these principles to that. We got baby step number 1. Everybody else's baby steps after this are going to be very different. For me, I'm going to talk about my baby steps conquering Graves' disease. I used to feel bad for myself. I used to self-pity. I used to feel that people who were healthy and were happy were false, fake, not genuine, because that's how bad I felt inside. And also Graves' disease kind of messes with your head. It messes with your head and your emotions, but again, you got to take control of that. When I was at my worst, I would rather be around people who had problems, because then I felt like I was not alone. They didn't have to have Graves' disease, but if they had issues and wanted to bitch and complain, I was like, yes, finally, I'm not the only person who hates my life and has drama and stuff to complain about. And it was kind of a relief to listen to somebody else talk about their stuff and not have to think about mine. But that is not the way that you want to live. There's Roxy. I would talk to my dogs. I would talk to myself sometimes because nobody really could understand. I didn't know anybody with Graves' disease at the time except for people on support sites that were not really supportive if you had anything positive to say. If you wanted to get on and bitch and complain and talk about how your life sucked, you had a million friends. Everything really goes back to that first initial baby step. It's so imperative that you have this baby step down, otherwise you are not laying a proper foundation to succeed at whatever you're doing. I'll give you an example. There were definitely times where I felt very poor me. It took me a while, but it was really a lot of the support groups and getting together with people like complaining, it didn't work for me. It didn't work for me to go on support groups and hear everybody's sad stories and no solutions and no hope. It didn't work for me going to doctors and having them tell me I was going to go on disability, that I would die of a heart attack if I didn't listen to their information. Ooh, the doctor fear factor. Many of you have experienced that. It didn't work for me. What worked for me was digging myself out of that bottomless pit and saying, I'm better than that. I've accomplished a lot in my life prior to getting Graves' disease. I have dealt with bad times. I have dealt with things going wrong in my life. So how is this any different? This is a big deal, and it's the biggest thing I've ever dealt with before, but I can get through this. I know that I have it in myself. I believe in myself. Trust me. Many times that I was saying that, I was saying it to convince myself because I wasn't quite sure I believed it yet, but tell yourself until you believe it. I'm telling you, it's worth it. Say it enough times, you will start to believe it. So I finally started to believe in the power of myself, then the power of my body, and the power of my brain to think of other options and search for other solutions. Because again, I was searching for solutions, I was searching for answers. I was not searching to have a pity party and a club of friends to sit around and say, woohoo, I have Graves' disease. My husband and I got divorced. I lost a job. I feel sick. I'm on disability collecting a paycheck. That was not in the realm of possibility for me. That could have happened. It happens to many people. It's really sad. But I said that will not be me. It will not be me. I have a very close member of my family that went down that path. So I watched someone that used to be extremely close to me completely lose themselves. And I was determined to never be that way. And my belief in myself was my foundation. Now, I have to say, I'm not saying at all that anybody who is on disability and someone who is severely depressed or someone who is suffering and on a support group is wrong or bad or made the wrong choice. But if you don't want to be there, if you're not feeling like you are your best self, if you know in your heart that there's more for you, don't stop believing in the power of your mind, the power of your body, and the power to heal whatever it is. Again, it doesn't have to be a disease. It could be overcoming some type of self-esteem issue, overcoming being in chronic bad relationships. You have to start with that foundation of believing in yourself. So that was my first step. That was my foundation. Because trust me, I look back sometimes and think about where I could be. I could have easily been there, but my mind, my body, my soul, my heart would not let me get there. And I was very close. I was very close for a long time, but I did not let it happen. So I know that everyone can come out of whatever it is, as long as you lay that proper foundation. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I hope you're having a happy and healthy day. Until next time.